Excellent. Okay, cool. So we're going live at the same time on YouTube and Instagram for our second live stream of the week. I am running late, good solid 22 minutes late. Just got off a spiritual mentorship call with my spiritual mentor. And so that's why I'm running late from typical posting. What's interesting is I don't feel too bad about it for a couple different reasons. One, um, our momentum of our group isn't there yet. And I think that's a little correlative to what it is I'm experiencing right now in life, where I don't have my particular exact vision in play yet. What I'm speaking to, I've got a lot of different things that I can speak to, varying levels, maybe not that high, maybe not that expansive, but I do have some things with which I can speak to. But that one thing that I can go very deep in, um, that I believe the Lord would work through me, and I'm not there yet. And a lot of that, I'm not too worried about being uh, keeping things going exactly correct here. And even so, even if I was operating in that, I would be confident or comforted or experience the level of grace where even if I did mess up, it's a human experience and it's all right. The other part is I did not want to pull out early from my session with my spiritual mentor because specifically we were getting into some points that I think hopefully should give me some leeway for some growth. For a long time I've been experiencing wrestling with some things spiritually, very difficult wrestling, to be specific. And with that being said, experiencing a lot of loneliness as well. Partly, I would say a majority of the reason why is because of me, because I put myself in a place to be lonely specifically. But there's a lot of work there, so that was something that I wanted to share with you guys real quick. And not only that, but also to just show that I am a proof of the product. That when I recommend getting in connection with a coach, with a mentor, with a therapist, with someone who you can talk to about deeper things in your life, someone, most importantly, in the context of what I'm doing right now, that we would say our premise here at Project Fresh, S may not be the first letter, but the sanctity, the spiritual side of what we do, we find most important. Getting into those really deep rooted areas in your life, getting into the core of you, the whys, the what's in the past, the what now, the how more so becomes application of the why and the what. I think if you got the why down and you got the what down, the how, the who, and the when should fall right in place over a period of time. I think and believe that strongly, especially in the context of the why and the what being clearly defined in the context of God and Christ. Okay, again, spiritually, that is my perspective, my belief, my foundation. Whatever your why may be, and your what may be, and that is your foundation. You have to operate accordingly, right? So, in the context of that scenario, that's what I'll give you. But anyway, I just want to share that briefly. To get to today's point, the disappointment loop, I really wanted to speak about this one, I think, for some time. It came up in my mind earlier. I don't know what brought it about, but I really wanted to get to this topic today, the disappointment loop. We got a nice visual for the thumbnail today, the desert. If you're familiar with the story in the Bible where the Israelites were promised a land of their own by God, the promised land flowing with milk and honey, that God was going to take them in safe passage through the wilderness and move them into this new place that would be theirs, this land that would be theirs, out of slavery, out of control under Pharaoh in Egypt, and that was a big deal. However, because of their disobedience, because of disbelief, and a lot of other things that they did, they ended up having to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Could you imagine living in the desert for 40 years? uh, that the idea. If you live in any kind of dwelling here in the United States, I know probably the majority of people who will catch this originally might be United States, but hey, this might get out into outside of the realm of the United States. Let's say you live in a condition where you do have the ability to get on the internet and watch stuff like this, but your living conditions aren't four solid walls with a ceiling and a bed and any kind of enclosure. Let's say you do live outside. Let's say that your livelihood is more so outside than inside. That alone, in comparison to having quarters inside, would probably be quite a challenge and quite a difference. It would probably substantially change your life, right? I think about often what it would be like to have to live homeless. It's something when I wake up every day, I'm extremely grateful for it. And I don't mean in the context of um, just a place to have enclosure and have my head on a bed, or even if I was sleeping on the carpet, I would still be extremely grateful. I actually makes me think back. I'll share with you a quick story. When I moved from Chicago out here to the Bay Area, I ordered a service to get all my stuff moved, not knowing the industry, not knowing the difficulty of it, thinking, things would be a lot smoother than they were. Took over a week to get all of my stuff. And now the drive from Chicago to the Bay Area obviously doesn't take a week, but they're the business and they have other people who are pulling on the business threads, if you will. And not only that, when I finally got my shipment, I didn't get all of my stuff. So it took a long time, took over a week, didn't get all of my stuff. I had to wait another, I don't remember how many days, but of course, not having my stuff meant not having a bed to sleep on. So I was literally sleeping on the floor for the first week or so. And, as uncomfortable and maybe even miserable as that might sound, I think back to that. I think back to how grateful I am considering the number of homeless that are here in the Bay Area. It's quite substantial. I don't know if it's higher than San Diego, but the homeless population is quite astounding. When I noticed it for the first time, when I got to experience it, it is quite astounding, and I always think about what it would be like to be homeless, and the challenges and the considerations and all the things that would have to be done to do so. I don't necessarily want to say successfully, but in a way that would allow food and some kind of shelter, some kind of warmth. Thankfully, in the Bay Area, it doesn't get as cold as where I'm from. If you're living homeless where I'm from, you might die in your sleep from cold. I know that there have been things about the homeless here in the Bay Area where there's been a number of homeless reported passing away when it's gotten below a certain temperature in the city. All of that is not necessarily where I was headed, but I just wanted to share gratitude. Getting back to where I was going in this uh, topic at hand today is the idea that with this loop, with living in the desert, they finally came to a space and place where the Lord decided the next generation was going to move into the promised land. And I wanted to give that context as kind of an idea to the loop. They went around the wilderness, I think, 3 times. I forget how many miles, I forget the total distance, the finer details of the desert or the wilderness in which they traveled, but I can't imagine what that experience was like. Um, God provided for them in that, which was an amazing thing, but they had to endure 40 years of a desert versus moving into a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, you could say living homeless versus living, excuse me, in a place with enclosed walls, ceiling, a roof, food in a refrigerator, etc. If you want to do that. Now, what does this all have to do with the disappointment loop? Why is this something that you're bringing up? What does this have to do with anything? Quite frankly, well, there are certain ways of thinking, certain ways of doing, certain ways of being that we've either brought upon ourselves or we've been taught through our parents or through work or through school or whomever was an influence enough for us to form this kind of thinking and feeling and action and result that are detrimental to us. Ryan, why didn't you just say that at the very beginning? Well, I had to give some context. I'm working on my presentation, my building up of content, if you will. But to get to the point, is that there's probably something that you can put your finger on right now, something, a behavior, a thought process, something that you are constantly stuck in a loop. Okay, now let's talk about it in the context of weight loss. I want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. I want to stop looking in the mirror rather, and feeling bad about myself. Perhaps something along those lines. Have you ever said something like that before? Okay. And it gets to be a point where you get so sad, so frustrated, so angry, so whatever, so fed up, or maybe so inspired. This is a season right now, the beginning of the year, where people become inspired, motivated to get after it. A new year, new me idea. And so you start on the process of exercising and changing the way you eat. Perhaps you choose to connect with other people who you associate with to achieve these health goals, if you will. And along the way, you find that something gets in the way, something, maybe how you feel about yourself. Maybe life starts to pick up and things get difficult, and you give way. You allow the environment, the situation, or just the mere fact that things are getting challenging to move you away from pursuing the process, the exercise, the eating a certain way, the staying accountable, keeping track, all those things that would provide you success. We all know those things will provide us success. That's why there are some people who have, great lifestyles, great bodies or figures, or they feel great with inside themselves, full of energy, their ability to enjoy life in the context of how they feel, how they look, how they perform, and whatever performance may be. It could be very simply just getting around without having any aches or pains, having a great relationship with their spouse in all regards, being able to have some extracurriculars for sports or for family, grandkids. I know I talk to a lot of grandparents and they desire to be able to continue to get on the floor and play with their grandkids. A joy to most grandparents that I've talked to. I even talked to a great grandmother one time, same thing. She's like, all right, I got these great grandkids and now I want to keep this thing going. So, that being said, back to this desert, what is that thought, that situation that's going on in your mind, on inside your mind, or in your behavior, your habits, if you will, that's preventing you from getting out of that loop? Lose a little weight, get discouraged, gain it back, gain some more. Or oh, hold on, let me back this up. Let's start over. All right. Discouraged, frustrated, upset, get motivated, get inspired, get encouraged, start working, start getting some results. Things happen in life, start thinking a certain way. Get discouraged, start to lose those results, start to gain weight. Get encouraged, get motivated, get back into the plan, get some results, see some things happen. Life comes into play. The mindset starts to shift, things start to happen, fall out, lose weight, gain weight, gain even more weight. And then through the loop we go, around the bend we go again. You've probably heard of yo-yo dieting, right? I truly believe, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, that our body is a manifestation of our mind, of what's going on up here, what's going on in here, the connection between the two, how it has an impact on our soul, our spirit, our those deep aspects and tones of our lives, however you want to phrase that. I truly believe that we manifest physically what we're going through spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. That can be the health of our body, whether it is our figure or our maybe our internal health as far as the biomarkers, but cholesterols and blood sugars and heart health and lung health and mind health and gut health and all these different things that we hear about so often. That that cyclical pattern that we experience. It could be weight loss, it could be a relationship, it could be striving to do better in work, it could be seeking purpose, not finding it, whatever that might be. That disappointment loop is something that you're going to stay in, that I'm going to stay in. I'm in a disappointment loop right now. I do not know with certainty, clarity, full understanding the extent to which I am created and made to be, do, and have here on this earth. I do not exactly know. I know the direction I'm headed. I know that I want to serve God and to step into and take part to just encompass and become that which he created me to do. He created me in a very unique way. There's no one else like me on this planet. He created me to do very specific things, to be a certain person, to be Ryan Edward Sanders, in a certain context that he created me to be, to have certain things that I may, utilize those for blessing those around me or whatever else it may be. Um, and I'm struggling with that, not knowing what it is, knowing that there is something there, but not knowing what it is. Funny that I'm cataloging this particular season of my life online for the world to see, the World Wide Web. But ultimately, that's a part of what we're about is going deep, going there, getting into it, creating these connection points, if you will, these relational points. This is real life. I'm literally struggling with this right now. And I therefore am in a disappointment loop because I don't know, because things aren't happening, because things aren't feeling like they're shifting or moving forward. I am disappointed and also stuck. I could probably break that down a little bit more, but I think you guys get my point. So I'll leave you with this question as I end. What is your disappointment loop? Are you becoming more aware of what it is that is first and foremost making you disappointed? And then are you becoming more aware of what is your thought pattern? It starts with your thoughts. That's where it all begins, is up here. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. What we think about, what our thought life is, what our programming is up here, works its way down. So think, feel, feelings and emotions, feel. Uh, my wife keeps saying she doesn't know if I'm saying feel is an FEEL, or if I'm filling something up, Phil, FILL, or if I'm saying a particular man's name, Philip, Phil. So I wanted to be specific today for some reason, but what your feelings are, emotions are, and from that, so first one, thoughts, feelings, emotions, two, three, actions are next. Actions come out, and then that results. And that's also a cyclical pattern too, because those results then feed back into the mind. So, like just laid out for you, disappointment. I'm overweight. I'm tired of looking at myself in the mirror. I hate how I feel. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I don't feel good. Hey, look, there's someone who's healthy. Hey, there's that coach who's doing that plan. Hey, I'm starting to feel motivated and inspired to do something about this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start doing something about it. All right, now I'm starting to see some results back in the mind. Keep things going. Or, oh, that person over there is doing better than me. Or, oh, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. Or, oh, I'm still not feeling the way I want to do. Maybe this wasn't for me. Start telling yourself those things. So there you go. Kind of that loop. So, what is your disappointment loop? I'll leave it at that, guys. We'll look forward to connecting with you again next week on Monday. We'll continue to bring you these topics, these questions. I'll do my best to keep it as succinct as possible. Um, please provide feedback. Please provide me some content, maybe some different ideas you'd like me to speak on in the context of lifestyle and being fresh. We're going to maybe use that more often. Fitness, finances, recreation, relationships, education, sanctity. That's your spiritual soul health. becoming sanctified, becoming even, I think is a great word for that. And H, overall health. Ryan Sanders with Project Fresh. We're at 20 minutes, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.